Thank you for joining me on the channel Mazzaroth Tarot. Today is just going to be a collective energy reading. It's not going to be in any specific order. This is not date specific. And you do not have to be a biological male or female to be in either of the energies, all right? So let's go ahead and get into it. I actually want to start off by talking to air sign energy. Air sign energy is so weird. Either air signs are dealing with a Cancer sign, house or home, or a relationship or family. But I feel like a feminine energy air sign kind of sort of has gotten, so let me clarify. Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius is, for those that don't know, could have recently got invited to a get together. And it's so weird because from the outside looking in, it looks like the air sign is with their kind, with their family, but it is not like at all the air sign's family. The event was like at a town hall, kind of, sort of. It could have been a bingo hall. It was just kind of like a get together, but the air sign was expecting food to be served. The air sign was expecting to fit in, to be accepted. And, you know, as the air sign was sort of, I'm going to say young or young spirited. Excuse me. The air sign was expecting to be accepted by the other young individuals. You know, the other individuals, the other young individuals that were there are a little different than the air sign. The air sign kind of, in my situation, prioritized their house, their home at one point in time. The air sign prioritized just being a regular person. But the the individual that the air sign was expecting to be accepted by specifically was very beautiful. Someone's name could be Krista. Not necessarily, they were very dark skinned, but they had a lot of Eurocentric features. And because of that, in their Black family, you know, because no one knew where Krista, quote unquote, got her thin nose and her silky hair, the family kind of catered to that person. And then also it was like her family was a reflection of the world. She was so highly favored, and she was like really popular online. She had a podcast and, you know, everything like that. And she could have had like a really popular guy in the city, regardless if it was a negative or positive on why he was popular. He just was well known. So when they had a child, you know, she just had everything that the air sign would have wanted for a very long time. But the air sign would have almost like the Cancer sign in the past went on a straight and narrow path to friendship, but, you know, felt upset about a situation. But regardless, when the air sign got there to the event, there was no food that was being served. The air sign was ostracized, had to sit alone because they had no family. They had no one at the table. And also, it was so weird because the people that invited the air sign had all got up unanimously at the same time and didn't tell the air sign that they were leaving, because the air sign eventually got over their fear and was like, I'm about to go get me a little drink, because they were at this event serving like Kool-Aid or punch or something like that. And the air sign was like, I'm going to get up the nerve and get past my anxiety, and I'm going to get up and I'm going to get me something to drink. And it was something about these little almost clear blue plastic cups, and they were everywhere. So the air sign was getting their little drink or whatever. There was an option between water and the punch, and the air sign had chose the punch. The air sign really didn't care. They just wanted something to drink because they had just been sitting there, not talking to nobody, just going, why am I even here? And when the air sign got up, she realized that the people that had invited her were all together saying this prayer, because it was like a family tradition for them to all pray after their get together, and then they would all go their separate ways. And if I did not mention, it was cold outside, like snowing. Excuse me, guys, I'm getting over cold. But what ended up happening, it was so very weird. It was so very weird. The air sign had got there at the end of their prayer, and they were going their own way, but everybody had their coats and purses in a specific area. And the person that had invited the air sign, or the person that the air sign knew more, the Krista, you know, had what the air sign believed to be their purse. The air sign was like, no, Krista, that's my purse, that's my purse. But then the and it was nothing but like a little black Coach bag. But then the grandmother of Krista, who adored Krista and who had just gave Krista money, because Krista was like, I need gas money. And it was so weird because the air sign could also resonate. The air sign was like, I need gas money too. But the air sign felt like they didn't have a grandma to give them gas money. But I'm going to get to that in a minute. The Krista's grandma gave her $10 so she can have a little gas. I don't even think Krista needed it. The grandma just would give Krista little dollars here and there every time she would see Krista. And I gotta stop smacking. And so the air sign and Krista, quote unquote, started to kind of get into it, because Krista's like, no, this is not your purse, this is my grandma's purse. My grandma gave me this bag, yada yada yada. And the air sign is like, no, that's my purse, that's my purse. So then Krista's grandma show up and she's like, hold up, that's my purse. I gave Krista that purse. Look in there. And the air sign had opened up the bag and she had pulled out this credit card, and it had said Krista's grandma's name. And so Krista's grandma got mad, but then it became a thing because the air sign, it was like a Cash App card. The air sign was like, there's nothing that I can do, and I don't even remember the sequence of numbers on your Cash App card. There's nothing that I could do with that information. But the grandma was irritated, like, oh no, don't look at my personal information. So the air sign ended up apologizing to Krista, like, oh, sorry, my bad. Her purse was right there. And then it was the exact same purse, but the air sign's purse was a little older. It was the exact same make and model, but hers had little scuffs. It was rough around the edges. And so the air sign ended up leaving out. Air sign had made a slick comment, like, you know, basically along the lines like, I'm not a thief. I'm not going to steal your Cash App credit card number. But the air sign ended up getting to their car. And the air sign was pretty upset or whatever. And the air sign's car was working perfectly fine. Why, when the air sign got to their car after making that slick comment to their grandma, who was like the matriarch of the family, the car started having issues. It wouldn't freaking start up. And the air sign was like, I don't recall if I needed gas. I don't know what it is, but this car is acting weird. It just don't want to start. It was something with the lights or the spark plug. I don't know what it was. And so the air sign started calling their boyfriend, their ex-baby father, ex-husband. But it was like 12 o'clock at night. And the air sign was like not expecting that person to answer. But they were hoping because it was like an emergency. And the person, I don't remember if the boyfriend, husband, ex-baby father, I don't remember if they answered. But I remember the air sign repeatedly having to call that person. And the air sign just knew that Krista's grandma put a curse on their car. Like, just knew it. And the car ended up finally starting, but it started so very weird. Like, you know how you put the key in the ignition of an old car, you could only turn it right. This car was turning left. The ignition was turning left. It was turning right. But it finally started up, and it didn't seem like it. So, not because the air sign had put their car in reverse, and it came out really quickly. And they were able to get out. But it was just really weird because the air sign is like, why would you invite me to something? Make me feel ostracized. I didn't get into it with your grandma. I get into it with your grandma for a simple misunderstanding of whose bag is what. I don't want your money. I don't want your family money. And then I feel hexed or cursed by the situation because my car was working perfectly fine before I left out. I should have never listened. I should have never came. Because Krista was fake. Krista was fake. Krista thought she had a date with the future in the past, a date with the future, and you know, was going to be this, that, and this and that, and was always putting on a show, always performing, always, but was so favored by the family for silly reasons. For silly reasons. It was like she was just the most beautiful of the family, and it was just so weird how spoiled she was, but she would be very, very fake too. Like, it was beyond a mean girl. You know, Lisa and Mean Girls, if one of them were to invite you somewhere, they would sit with you, they would talk with you, you know. It was totally different than that. It was like, I don't want to sit with you, I don't want to be by you, I don't care what you're doing. And it was just like, why did you invite the air sign anyway? But that's what I saw for air signs. Let's go on to the next sign. Water signs. Water signs, it's all very weird. Water signs can be dealing with fire signs, because I do feel like the two are connected. Because the fire signs, Sagittarius, Leo specifically, and Aries were showing up in the water signs energy. All right. But the water sign was in this. That's very weird. The water sign was in this new position in life, but it started off with the water sign being at a mall, being at a shopping mall, so on and so forth, and running across masculine energies. It really doesn't matter. It just started off like that for the water sign, being at the shopping mall, kind of wanted to be seen, not necessarily, but trying to find a way out of the mall, trying to find a way out of there. And the water sign eventually, it was either through Foot Locker, it was through like an urban shoe or urban clothes apparel. It was through urban. The water sign was able to find a way out, like a back door. But the water sign felt backdoored, or the people felt backdoored by the water sign. Take it however it resonates. Why is she calling me this early? But anywho, the water sign ended up making it out, and the water sign was like in the concrete jungle, if you will. It was just nighttime, and it was really crowded at this dang on mall. And the water sign ended up finding their way at a school. The water sign was like signed up for school. They were like, I need to get in school, da da da. But it was beyond the high school, I do feel. But a lot of the guys that were at the mall, that backdoored the water sign, or the water sign backdoored them, whatever, were there. And so was, quote unquote, Krista's friend. Or just another person that was really popular in the city because of the person they were with. And, you know. And it's not that they had something that the water sign didn't, that they were close with their sisters or their siblings. They just are close to their sisters or siblings. The water sign could have been, could be, will be close to their siblings as well. It doesn't really matter. But when the water sign got into the school or whatever on the first day, they had to present. They had to represent. I don't know what the hell they had to do. And the guy had got up. But he had wanted the water sign's attention. And the teacher was African or something like that. I can't remember what the hell they were even talking about. All I know is that a sequence of numbers was said that the water sign had told that masculine energy that had decided to go first and present. And he had lifted up his shirt. I don't know if he was being vulnerable. I don't know what the hell he was doing. But when he lifted up his shirt, all like twin flame, elemental, inside out, I don't know what the hell he was doing. Being a water sign, it caused all hell to break loose. I don't know why, but upstairs there was a family of lions. They came down, a father lion, a mother lion, and a baby lion. They had came down and approached the masculine energy that was presenting, showing his stomach to the class. And it scared the hell out of the water sign. It scared the hell out of everybody that was in the class, because it was like grown-ass lions. And the teacher had got up, the African teacher, I'm not being racist, that's just what I saw. The African teacher had got up and he had grabbed the damn lions. Well, he had grabbed the mother lion. And he caused the father lion to go back upstairs. And the mother lion went upstairs, and the baby lion was the last one to go upstairs. But we didn't want the baby lion to go upstairs because it was so cute. But it needed to, because it was a wild animal. And it was so weird because the African teacher, he started having full-blown conversations with the lions. And I believe that they understood his ass because he was telling them, like, y'all need to stay upstairs. Y'all need to stay up here. Y'all can't come down here. Y'all can't do this. But while they was doing that, honey, I promise you, all the students in that class, we ended up getting up all our stuff and getting the hell out of there as fast as we freaking could. And I remember going looking for my keys. I needed to get my keys out of there. Honey, we got out of there. I got to my car. And this is where it got so very weird. I don't know if it's violence. I don't know what it is, but everybody, or attraction, everybody wanted to start hitting on the water sign. And it was tied to the water sign's lips or mouth. And then it was so very fucking strange. Because the water sign is like, I didn't do that. I didn't cause that. I don't know what the hell school's on. But wait a minute. So let's go on to the next sign. The next sign. So I put fire signs with that. So we're just gonna go to earth energy. But it is still tied to fire signs. And fire signs kind of make a big appearance in this energy as well. So this could be for Leo, Sagittarius, Aries, or Taurus, Capricorn, or Virgo. It was weird. It was weird. I don't know where. It was like a group home for the elderly. And those signs, the fire and earth signs, were in this feminine energy, and they were in a feminine energy, let me put it like that, and they were visiting that elderly community home or center. All right, so I'm gonna just put it like this because I can't remember all the details. Why did it blow up? It blew up. Something blew up with a grandma. For those people in an elderly community center, and like an actual fire had broke loose. But the grandma, the elder, knew that the fire was happening, and she had told the fire signs or the earth signs to get out of there while you can. And so they had ran out. They had ran out and left the elderly behind. But it was so weird because the house exploded. It caught on fire. Everything was incinerated. It was bad. But those signs, the fire signs and the earth signs, left their purse, their bag there. And it was like a brown little saddle bag. Why was the bag totally untouched in the situation? It was totally untouched. Like nothing had happened to the bag. So through the rubble, wreckage, whatever it's called, through the ash, through the fire, those signs had went in there to get their bag. It wasn't the elder's bag. It was actually their bag. But because they had to run out of the situation and leave everything behind, they had, in an emergency, you don't think about, stuff like that. It's like afterwards you go looking through the rubble and you find, what you can. Why did those individuals go back into that house right after everything, like right after the smoke cleared and the fire settled? And why did somebody step on the skeleton of the grandma or the elder? It was totally like intact. I have no idea, but that's what I saw. I saw a full dead body that was burnt alive to a crisp. But somebody had to go in there and get their bag. But they had accidentally stepped on their body. It just stuck with me because I was going, why is that on fire? And the elderly were so fragile and just tired. I do believe that they could not even run away. They just couldn't even do it. Now, I don't know who brewed up that light. I don't know who did that. I don't know what happened. I don't know. But I did see that. And, it was just a terrible situation because when the fire sign when the fire sign or the earth sign stepped on the remains of that dead elderly person, it's not that they felt sick. They was just like, oh my God. And it was just so weird to see that. All right. Let's go into the air signs. I'll be done with this. Air signs, it's not very weird. Air signs was talking to like a mother. Or air signs was talking to a grandmother. And or air signs could be said grandmother, but the air signs grandmother could have passed away. I don't know, take it or resonates. But the air signs or the grandmother of the air sign, take it or resonates, was dealing with the loss of their child, their firstborn. And they were having a hard time dealing with the loss of their firstborn because it was like their son. And even though he was grown, he was still younger, of course, than the air sign or said grandmother of an air sign. But I remember just having a conversation. Somebody in their house at home was having a conversation with that grandmother or that air sign. Like, you know, it's okay because he had his favorite drink. He had his favorite drink before he died. Like the son of, say, a grandmother or air sign that passed away, he had a favorite drink. Now, in my dream, it was like chocolate milk, not necessarily. Someone could have been went to the nurse. It could have been alcohol. Take it or resonates. But he just had a favorite drink, and before he died, he was able to have that favorite drink. And it was so weird because even in his autopsy, they had mentioned that that liquid was in his stomach. And so I was just trying to, and it's gonna be real. I'm gonna be done with this. I was just trying to at that point bring reassurance to the air sign or their grandmother that at least that person had their favorite meal or drink before they died. At least I was trying to bring that person comfort by just saying, like, you know, your son, he didn't like to drink. And I know that him died, but at least him had that drink before him died, because I just know that he wouldn't have wanted to not have had that drink before he died. Even if I didn't support his drinking habits, I just was trying to make that person feel better about it. But I don't know if it worked or not, because the grandmother or the air sign was just still upset that their firstborn son had died. And it's not that I wasn't upset. It's not that I could not relate. In a way, I could. I have lost children, or I have lost a child before to death. But it was a different scenario. I just feel like I don't know. I just try to bring that person comfort to, you know. And the grandmother was listening. Like, she was kind of like understanding, like, okay, yeah, he had his favorite drink first. He, you know, but I don't know if it changed the fact that her son was gone. It just was what it was. I don't know. But that's all I got. Godspeed. God bless. Bye.